It all started on a blistering hot Saturday morning, the kind of day when the sun feels like it's melting the asphalt beneath your feet. The local storage auction lot was packed, bidders from all over town gathered, each hoping to score the next big find. Among them was her, Emily Carson. She wasn't a seasoned buyer, not by a long shot. She'd only been to a handful of auctions, usually sticking to smaller, cheaper units filled with boxes, furniture, and the occasional collectible. But today was different. The auctioneer's voice crackled through the air as they moved from unit to unit. Some sold for as little as $50, others climbed to a few hundred. Then they stopped in front of Unit 47, a wide, red metal door with a hefty padlock that had clearly been sitting there for years. The auctioneer's assistant swung the door up just enough for everyone to peek inside. A dim shaft of light fell on a large, lumpy tarp covering something massive. The shape was hard to miss, low to the ground, long hood, and wide stance. Even from the shadows, it screamed, car. Amelie's heart skipped a beat. Cars had always been her father's passion. She grew up flipping through his old automotive magazines, listening to him tell stories about rare exotics and track legends. She didn't know much about engines, but she could feel when something was special. And this shape under the tarp, it was special. Bidding started at $500. $500, someone shouted. $700. Emily hesitated. $1,500 was her absolute max budget for the month. Anything more and she'd be in trouble. But as the numbers climbed, something inside her refused to back down. 1,000. A tall man in a leather jacket called out. Emily raised her hand. 1,500. The crowd murmured. The auctioneer scanned the group. 1,500, going once, going twice. Sold to the lady in the blue cap. Amelie's stomach twisted with equal parts excitement and fear. She had just spent all her available cash on something she hadn't even touched yet. With the paperwork signed and the lock cut, she stood in front of the unit alone. She gripped the door handle, took a deep breath, and rolled it up. Dust spilled out into the sunlight, and the smell hit her first, that old, dry scent of a garage untouched for decades. The tarp was there, faded green and stiff from age. Emily grabbed the corner and pulled. At first, it barely budged, but as she tugged harder, the outline beneath became clearer. She froze. It wasn't just any car. It was sleek. The curves, the sharp angles of the front end. This was something out of a dream. The tarp slid to the floor, and the truth stood before her. A 1972 Lamborghini Miura SV, painted in a rare shade of deep metallic orange, dulled only by the thick layer of dust coating it. Amelie's jaw dropped. She'd only ever seen this car in magazines. It was the kind of machine collectors would sell their souls to own. There were fewer than 150 ever made, and each one was worth well into the millions today. Her hands trembled as she walked around it. The tires were flat, the windshield streaked with grime, but the leather interior was still intact. On the passenger seat lay a set of keys, a brown leather notebook, and a single Polaroid photo of the car parked in front of what looked like a villa somewhere in Europe. The notebook told the story. The car once belonged to an Italian race team owner, who had it shipped to the US in the late 70s. But after a mechanical issue sidelined it, the car was stored and forgotten in this very unit for over 40 years. Amelie's mind raced. She'd just gone from a casual bidder to the owner of one of the most sought-after supercars on the planet. But there was a problem. Moving it wasn't going to be easy. The storage lot manager told her they couldn't just tow it with a regular truck. She'd need a flatbed and a mechanic who knew how to handle rare exotics. She called in a favor from a friend of her father's, a retired mechanic named Jack. When Jack arrived and saw the Miura, he nearly dropped his wrench. "Emily, do you have any idea what you just bought?" "Yeah," she said with a shaky laugh. "A retirement plan." They carefully winked the car onto the flatbed, every click of the chain feeling like a step closer to history. Emily rode in the cab, glancing back through the window at the orange legend, its dusty paint glinting faintly in the afternoon sun. At Jack's shop, they began the slow process of cleaning it up. Decades of dust and dirt gave way to a flawless body. The paint, though faded, still held its deep metallic glow. The leather seats, once dry, began to soften with care. Jack checked under the hood and found the original V12 engine, and touched all matching numbers. "This is the real deal," he said, almost whispering. "You just pulled $1 million car out of a $1,500 gamble." Over the next few weeks, word got out. Collectors called. Journalists wanted interviews. A well-known auction house even sent Emily an offer without her ever listing the car, $1.2 million, sight unseen. As long as it was mechanically restored. Emily had a decision to make. She could sell it and change her life instantly, or she could hold on to it, restore it fully, and maybe even drive it, fulfilling her father's lifelong dream. One evening, She sat in the shop with Jack, the sun setting behind them, casting a golden glow over the Miura. She ran her hand along the fender, feeling the cool metal beneath her fingertips. I think, she said softly, I'm going to keep it, at least for now. Jack grinned. Good. Some things are worth more than money. Months later, the car roared to life for the first time in decades. The V12 sang its deep, unmistakable song, rattling the shop walls and sending chills down Emily's spine. She eased it out onto the road, the setting sun reflecting off the hood, and for the first time, the Miura was free again. And as she drove, wind in her hair, she thought about that day at the auction, the risk, the fear, the unknown. Sometimes, she realized, you have to take a leap into the dark because on the other side, you might just find the car of a lifetime. Emily didn't just keep the Miura locked away after that first drive. She made it her mission to uncover every detail of its history. The brown leather notebook from the passenger seat became her obsession. She spent hours poring over the Italian handwriting, flipping through old photographs tucked between the pages. Some showed the Miura at glamorous European events, others on winding mountain roads with a man in aviator sunglasses behind the wheel. On one page, a faded receipt from 1973 revealed the car had undergone modifications by a small, now defunct, tuning shop in Modena. Jack's eyes widened when he saw that. These guys were legendary. If they touched this car, it might be one of one in the world. That night, Emily reached out to an Italian classic car historian she found online. His name was Marco, and when she emailed him photos of the car and the documents, his reply was almost instant. Signora Carson, what you have is beyond rare. This Miura was commissioned by Giancarlo Venturi, the owner of the Venturi racing team. It was tuned personally by engineers who worked on the Miura Jota prototype. I must see it in person. 2 weeks later, Marco flew in from Milan. The moment he laid eyes on the Miura in Jack's shop, he removed his sunglasses slowly, as if afraid to blink. He circled it twice, then crouched near the rear quarter panel, tracing his fingers over the metal. This is not just a Miura SV, he said in a hushed tone. This is Venturi's Miura, a piece of motorsport history. The modifications make it unique. It is easily worth double what the market says. Emily's pulse quickened. Double the market. That could mean $2 million or more. But Marco wasn't here to buy, he wanted to help. If you allow me, he said, I will connect you with the right people for restoration. People who understand that this is not just a car, but art. Within a month, the Miura was loaded into a covered transport truck bound for a specialist shop in California, known for concours-level restorations of rare exotics. Emily flew out to oversee the process. The restoration team worked like surgeons, cataloging every nut, bolt, and leather stitch. The paint was carefully brought back to its original fiery metallic orange. The interior was restored using period-correct Italian leather. The V12 engine was stripped, cleaned, and rebuilt to factory perfection, but they left Marco's documented performance tuning intact. During those months, Emily found herself falling deeper into the classic car world. She attended auctions, met collectors, and even started a social media page documenting the Miura's journey. Her posts, dusty, before, photos alongside jaw-dropping, after, shots, went viral among car enthusiasts. One evening, while scrolling through messages, she saw one from a name she recognized, James Hollister, a billionaire collector known for owning one of the rarest Ferrari 250 GTOs in existence. Emily, I've been following your Miura restoration. I am interested in acquiring it for my private museum. Name your price. Her phone almost slipped from her hand. Hollister was the kind of buyer who didn't negotiate much. If he wanted something, he paid whatever it took. She didn't reply right away. Instead, she called Jack. What should I do? She asked. Depends, Jack said. Do you want to be the person who tells people she once owned Venturi's Miura, or the person who still has it in her garage? It was a question that kept her awake for nights. On one hand, $3 million could change her life, buy a house, fund her dream business, secure her future. On the other, this car had become more than just metal and rubber. It was a story she was living,